Good afternoon, Coppercoins fans. Tell you what, just realized I left my bag on the floor. I'm back. There's my bag. This is the bag we're going to use today. And we have a number of names from which we can draw. And here's how that's going to work. Instead of drawing one coin per name today, we're going to draw a name, and then however many coins it says underneath that person's name, like Jim Fletcher gets 10, we're going to pull that many coins out and view that many coins for that person all in a row. Help us get through the crowd a little bit easier, and well, it doesn't really matter what order the coins are in because I could just as well pull any given coin out of the bag at any given time. Okay, so here is the bag that we're going to be working with today. It is a Treasurer, U.S. Treasurer, Washington, D.C. bag. It's a Federal Reserve wrapped bag, and I know that it's a Federal Reserve sealed bag because the lead seal is of a rather unique type that only the Federal Reserve used. There it is. It has a little red cap that goes down over the twine, and then the seal slides on top of the twine. Then they crimp the seal and cut the twine, and so that's how these worked. So this is for sure an original sealed bag, and with an original sealed bag, I need this to open it. Is what a figment of your imagination? Of course not. I'm broadcasting. We are live. And I have to have glasses on or I'm going to cut the hell out of myself. So make sure that what I'm doing here is safe for me and the rest of the world. There we go. I think I have made it through all of the twine. Nope. I still have one little layer left to go. A couple of threads. There we go. And I've cut through the final couple of little threads, and there's our seal about to fall off the bag. And pull it off. Here is, bag reads, Treasury Department, cents, $5. Return this bag to the Treasurer, U.S. Washington, D.C. 20220. Now we know by the fact that it has a zip code on it that it's a 1967 or after product. And I have it on authority by a good, let's say a good contact, that these are probably going to be 1971 or 1972. A quick peek inside the bag shows me they are all uncirculated coins. So let me pour some out. Ooh, these are 1969. How about that? 1969. So these are 1969 Philadelphia. That throws a little tiny shoe in things. Let me go take a look and get myself refreshed a little bit on some of the varieties of 1969 Philadelphia Lincoln cents, and you may do the same as I am. Of course, it's going to be double dies, not repunchment mark. My book is available on Amazon. However, I believe people are selling it rather expensively because it's secondhand market. I don't think there's any of the original distributors still have any copies of it. And hello, Wild Bill, Steve Patat, Andrew Forbes, Paula Bloom, Raymond Longy, Aaron T. Barron, and Joe McBride. Take a look really quickly and see what I can find on DDO listings for 1969. There are a couple of minor 1969 DDOs. One of them shows in the motto. It's a small class 5. And then another one shows a large hump on the top of the first 9 of the date. Take a look at double die reverse list. Quick, see what I can find. There is nothing known for 1969 plain. So we have a couple of minor 1969 double die obverses that we'd be looking for. And nothing on the reverse that we would know about. Let me see if I can get my... Now that we've already done that part, let's move over to the collection of scenes so that you can see. Here's our coins. They are, for the most part, relatively clean-looking coins. They're uncirculated, probably 63, 64, some 65s. They are all 1969 Philadelphia. 1969 Philadelphia is a rather expensive roll. I think they sell for close to $10 a roll. Stanton Publishing has a copy. I'll have to give him a call sometime. Is that still Kyle Vick? Out of Georgia? I think he's in Atlanta. Oh, I know what I did wrong here. Keyboard's in the way. As anytime I have trouble reaching my microscope, I know that my keyboard was in the way. All right. Let me get this readjusted here just a little bit to make it a little easier to talk into it rather than it being stuck up my nose. All right. I'll give Kyle a call and I'll see what he's got. All right. So now that we've got our names in the bag, we're going to be doing quite a number of coins here today. Marshall goes first. New Marshall in town gets 10 coins. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That 10 right there will work for Mr. Marshall. Picking them completely out at random. And here's the first coin. Let's see what it is. It looks rather normal from this particular view. A slightly doubled up rim there that shows that we've got a very slight misaligned die. Very slightly misaligned obverse die. Other than that, we seem to have a normal 1969 plain Lincoln cent. Let's take a look at the reverse. Get a good look at the reverse on some of these to see whether we have anything worth continuing to look at the reverses. And I see what appears to be a normal 1969 Lincoln cent. So there's our first coin. Let me get these others out of the way here. And our second coin. I was kind of hoping for a 72 bag or a 71 bag. 69's not bad. Just not as many die varieties known in 69 as there are in the other dates. Yeah, whether I'll be at the ANA in Atlanta at the end of the month is another question altogether. I'm not sure I'm going to make it all the way down there. Seems to be quite the drag to get all the way down there, when I'm probably not going to have a whole lot of discretionary income to spend on replenishing inventory because I'm very inventory heavy right now. In other words, I probably need to concentrate my time on actually putting things up for sale rather than trying to find things to buy. Okay, not seeing anything here. 1969 is a very interesting year for Lincoln cents because it is the very first year of this particular engraving. If you remember, 1968 Lincoln cents are rather chunky looking. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and all the lettering on the obverse likes to run toward the rim, and they're just chunky, kind of worn out looking. And they resolved that issue in 1969 by completely changing the obverse engraving altogether. Whole new master die. So this was the first year of this particular type for Lincoln cents. We got 4 coins down. We're working on 10 coins for Mr. Marshall, and I'm not seeing anything yet. I'll stop when I do, though. We know these are original because we just opened the Fed seal on the bag. Unlike mint bags, Fed sealed bags are not sewn shut. Fed seal bags are actually lead wrapped at the top. They're lead sealed. Some of these coins have really begun to turn. And the fibers all over the coin, those come from the bag itself. That's 6 coins. Here comes number 7. It's the first one of those I've seen. Pretty sizable spot. Got a lot of machine doubling on this coin. Machine doubling probably going to show best when I turn it this way. You can see it there running toward the rim. That's just a flattening of the design by a die that was not fixed tightly enough in the press. So it did a double bounce. When it did a double bounce, it bounced on the letters that were already there, flattened down the edges of those letters, and made them look doubled. Primary way of being able to tell the difference between machine doubling and a doubled die is that machine doubling will actually eat away at the normal size and shape of the letters represented in that area, and a true doubled die will actually add to the representative shape of the letters because it is a secondary pressing of letters into the die itself. Machine doubling is just a second die pressing onto a coin. Doubled dies are actually a secondary design pressing into the die that makes the coins, so that every coin minted by a particular die that has a doubled die on it will reflect that doubled die, because the doubled die or any design on any die is a fingerprint of that die. It's basically a unique design in that one bar of steel. However many coins it makes is what we turn out with as far as copies of that die. So if a die has a doubled design and it mints or stamps a whole bunch of pennies, then every one of those pennies is going to carry the design that was on that die at the time that die was created. That's how hub doubling works. Hey, Brian. Thought we were going to run into a 72 bag here and ended up being a 69 bag. Had no idea what it was. There was no date on the outside of the bag as normal. It was just a Washington, D.C. Fed Reserve wrap bag from the Treasury. Scratches from the Fed. Especially for you. And me. So what we have here are the 10 coins going to Mr. Marshall. I'm going to go ahead and start placing them into flips, 2 per flip. And these are going to go to Mr. Marshall. And their new home. Brian, I hope your weather didn't get cold today. Hope you got a little bit of time to enjoy the outside before it starts getting cold. We're planning on getting cooler tonight. Started out with decent weather this morning. It's a little cloudy, but it was like 70 degrees outside. It's gone down quite a bit since then. It's about 10 degrees cooler than that now because a cold front started passing through. Mr. Dowdle gets his 5 coins next. I'll pull off the next 5 coins for Mr. Dowdle. There they are right there. And we'll get started on this and see what we're doing. 5 degrees in Kansas City. You can have it. Please keep it. Some spotty looking coins here. Never know what you're going to end up with when you open one of these bags. It's always a crapshoot. Hey, Dacone. And Hidden Numismatist, Stonecutter, Adam Chambers. Who else did I miss? I miss anybody else? John Brandon Bow? Is that Bow or Bowie? I'm assuming Bow because it only has an E on the end, not an IE. I hate spots. As once in a while I get a coin with a spot on it. I do not like spots. Oh boy, I've still got these on. I only need them for reading. Coins look better when I don't wear glasses. That's why when I'm selling, I don't wear glasses. When I'm buying, I do. Isn't that the way that works? I am seeing the same dies repeated over and over again. I'm noticing die scratches and particular markers on the dies that I am keeping in mind as I'm going through. Yeah, I didn't know what was happening today either, Levels. This has been a week of, processes, trying to get things done. And I decided yesterday I couldn't do any reveals, and so this morning when I woke up, I was like, well, you either have to do reveals or cancel them, one or the other, because you're running out of time, brother. So I said, okay. So reveal today it is. I'm also going to do that 2020 roll a little bit later on today. It's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So you'll want to tune back in, especially if you are involved in that. We're going to open a brand new 2020 roll of Lincoln Cents. I have no idea what to expect. I've never even seen a 2020 Lincoln Cent yet, but I'm sure I will earlier or later on today. Not earlier. Earlier than I go to bed today. How does that sound? You say it that way. Hope everybody, even though that there's a great chill going on in the middle of the country today, I hope you guys are doing okay and everyone's being safe. Everyone's keeping themselves warm. And I know for any of my friends down in Florida, yeah, you got warm weather. I get it. Of course, I don't know how, like, the center of Texas is doing right now. So we got any Texas people out there? You can tell me what the weather is like in Texas. And that's Mr. Dowdle's 5 coins. Get him started here. I'm going to take 3 flips. I'm putting them 2 to a flip just to conserve flips a little bit. Because some of these coins just really aren't worth much. But other ones, they're nice. Nothing wrong with them. All right, next up. You're going to be whiny and say you hate Windows 10. I'm sure you're going to tell us why. There's Aaron the Baron. Got 5 coins out from Mr. Aaron. Let's see. So far, I haven't caught on to anything that is of special value. We are continuing to look in hopes that we find something. Jessica, once you get used to Windows 10, you won't even notice there's a difference. In fact, I barely remember like Windows XP and Windows Millennium Edition and Windows Vista. I barely even remember those anymore. I've been on Windows 10 for a while, and it's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, really. Whatever you hate about it, you'll get used to it quickly. I can tell you this much about it. It's a little better in security than the earlier versions of their software, and so if you are operating an older operating system just because you quote-unquote like it more, you are chopping yourself in the nose because you're not taking advantage of security improvements that have been made with the newer versions. Feels like -6 at your house today. What is that, 6 feet under? Oh, I feel for you people. I am in North Carolina. I am in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, for those who may not know where I am. And in the Raleigh, North Carolina area today, it started out in the upper 60s this morning when we woke up, and it's been dropping through most of the day because we had a cold front come through. We've had a couple of heavy rainstorms. We've got sprinkles and showers most of the day, and it's very cloudy outside, dark, dingy. It's kind of ugly looking, sort of like this penny. And we are expecting temperatures just above freezing tonight and pretty chilly temperatures tomorrow. This is a much nicer coin here. I started on the reverse side this time, hoping that maybe it would improve things. It appears as though it has. Let's flip it over and look at the obverse and see if it's any better. This one is much better than the last one. Lincoln's wearing glasses. That's what that is. I will let you guys know, anyone who uses Windows Explorer or Internet Explorer to view the internet, you are putting yourselves through a lot of risk that you probably don't need to put yourselves through. You see, Microsoft has their hands full dealing with operating system software. They still do the Office software. They still do all of that, and the bundled software. Whereas Google, they're really sticking with the Chrome stuff, making Chrome a good browser, and I think Chrome is still the best browser out there. I had to quit using Firefox a number of years ago because Firefox, they basically quit bothering with their security upgrades, and they were having a lot of problems. So I gave up on them because they gave up on themselves. Okay, Aaron gets 5 relatively normal coins as it appears. It looks like most everyone's probably just going to get relatively normal looking coins out of these. So what I will start doing at this point is, if a coin is of low enough grade that I think it should just be skipped, I'm going to skip it. As at this point, we've been through close to a roll worth of coins and we haven't really found anything yet. So let's see. Mr. Speaks. This will be Mr. Speaks' first experience with this, and he gets 10 coins. Let me count out 10 coins real quick. 4, 5, 10. All right, Mr. Speaks, 10 coins. Let's take the first one here and see what we see. Spot. I'm going to throw this one. Unless it's a double die. A big old spot in the field. Stuff like that, I really don't want people to have stuff like that. I think I'll probably go back and replace some of these other coins with better coins. Let me pull another one that looks nicer. This one's nicer. This one's at least all red. You're done being grumpy? Well, welcome to the world, Jessica. Need to find that inner zen. That's right. Need to find that part of you that says, you know, everything's fine, I'm breathing. Because, well, that's the important part of life. The health of yourself and others around you. New Marshall, no, with the monthly, I did that up until last month, and then last month, actually December, January, and now February, I have skipped doing the monthly billing process simply because I've not had regular enough shows to warrant putting together a monthly package for people, but I will start it back up in March, and what I'm going to be doing is for the people who have already offered a monthly package to, what I do is I charge you regularly for your items. You pay for your items weekly, but you only pay shipping once a month. And I charge a $5 convenience fee for that, so that I charge you the $5 and whatever it costs to put your entire month's winnings inside of a single package to mail, and charge you shipping only for that package. It saves you from the weekly jaunt of having to pay $4 a week for a few coins here, there, and there, whereas you would end up paying one packing fee for 1 month instead of 4 packing fees for 4 weeks. I'm going to throw this one. Yeah, this one's not pretty enough. I'm going to throw it. Yep. Not pretty enough. Bye-bye. see. And its replacement looks quite a bit better. Until I get to the reverse. It appears that a lot of these coins are starting to turn just a little bit. I'm going to say turning-ish, like brown-ish. There's another nice one that's pretty red. Looking for any hub doubling in A God We Trust, especially. Looking for anything that might pop up on the date or on Liberty. I'm looking for anything to be outside of the ordinary on the reverse. I'm not really expecting any hub doubling on the reverse, but we could find a struck through die cap, we could find a brockage, we could find an indent, we could find pretty much anything, a big struck through. You never know what you're going to find on a coin until you flip it over and take a look at it. Bow like bow and arrow. Okay, I got you. Got your name now. John Brandon Bow, welcome to the family. Brandon gives me good memories. There was a town in Florida just east of Tampa Bay called Brandon. They have a monthly coin show there. And I used to go to that monthly coin show, and I had a lot of fun going to that monthly coin show, doing the show with people, talking to my buddy dealers and getting good deals and taking stuff to sell and go have lunch afterwards after the show someplace in Brandon. Nice town. Liked my Brandon. Hello, Eric. Mr. Byers in the house. At this point, we're probably just looking for anything out of the ordinary. Anything like struck through, double struck, flip over double struck, anything that we could just hope for, because I think we're probably going to be out of double dies here. I don't think we're really going to be looking for any double dies in this bunch. We've seen a lot of coins now, and at this point we've not seen a double die yet, so I wouldn't plan on seeing one. Here's my reasoning for that. A lot of you folks know, some of you don't, some of you might not. I'm going to toss this coin because I can see a big spot right on the obverse. That when the mint makes coins, they usually make coins on up to 7 or 8 die pairs at once. All of those coins get minted and they go into a big hopper. From that hopper, they get counted out into bags. Those bags get sewn shut and sent out to the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve opens those bags and either rewraps the coins into rolls, or they rewrap or rebag the coins into these small bags and ship them out. And they did that for a few years. They decided that $5 bags, I guess, were easier to deal with than 10 rolls of coins. And so this is what that was. This is a Fed Reserve wrapped Washington, D.C. bag. $5 face value, 1969 Lincoln cents. I kind of wish they'd been S-mint, but it is what it is, right? All right, Mr. Speaks has his 10 coins. I get these into the holders, and then we'll move on to the next person. So yes, these are 1969. They are not 71 or 72 as we had originally thought. But actually, 1969 by the roll is actually more valuable than 71 and 72. So these are a relatively valuable bag of coins. I think 71 and 72 generally sell for about $3, maybe $4 a roll. And then 69s are more like $10 a roll. So we are getting the advantage of having slightly less populous coins, slightly lower mintage, and well, the bags are a little more difficult to find. But the thing about 69 though is that we're going to be rather shy on varieties because there just weren't many known for that year. 1969 San Francisco made a really, really nice double die obverse, but you're not going to find them in Philadelphia coins because, well, those were only minted in San Francisco. Let's see, Mr. Worley gets 5 coins now. Pull out 5 coins off of here for Mr. Worley. There they are right there. Oof, this one's got a huge spot on it. Wow, some of these coins are actually ugly. We'll check it for a double die and then I'll toss it. If it's not a double die, I'll toss it. Not a major error, I'll toss it. Let's move on to another coin. Here we go. Over the shoulder. I did actually toss that. The dog looked at me like I was some kind of freak. All right, let's move on. This one's a better coin. I don't think your weather is going to be a whole lot different from ours, just about 5 degrees cooler because you're, what, probably about a 3-hour, 3.5-hour drive north of here. You guys do get snow up in Washington when we don't here in North Carolina. But you have to realize, you know, Washington and where I live are just the state of Virginia away from one another. And Virginia is a long state, but it's not a very thick state. There's 2 coins out. Here's number 3 for Mr. Worley. There's actually pretty nice coins that I pulled out for his stack, except for that first one, which is going to be replaced. Oh, Mr. Carmen, I just now saw your name on there. And Farm Dog. Hope you guys are both doing well. I know Mr. Carmen's on the cold side of things. Can't remember where Farm Dog is. If he's on the cold side or the warm side. Or maybe neither one. If he's way out west, he won't be affected by this system. I got up this morning and I saw, high temperature 70 degrees. That's kind of cool. Low temperature 36. Well, we must have a cold front coming through. And I checked the forecast and sure enough, we've got a cold front coming through. I heard reports in Oklahoma. Or was it Oklahoma? Yeah, it was Oklahoma. Heard reports in Oklahoma that the temperature fell by 10 degrees in 1 hour. I've seen it do a lot better than that. But 10 degrees in 1 hour is a pretty big drop. We don't expect anywhere near 10 degrees in 1 hour, but we are going to drop by 25, 30 degrees over a period of 5 or 6 hours. By the time we wake up in the morning, it's going to be back to where it was earlier in the week. 40 to 50 degrees. That's normal for February here in North Carolina. Once in a while it gets cold enough for snow, but not often. And I know you people further up north, you look at me like, hey, you're lucky. You know what? I think I'm lucky just wherever I am. It doesn't make any difference. If I had snow outside and I needed to go someplace, I'd go shovel it. No big deal. Of course, unless you're in Newfoundland now, people up in Newfoundland, they've had some real heavy snow this winter. They've been digging out of feet of snow up there. So Todd, you're going to have a low of 15 tonight? Yeah. Mr. Barchman, Mike, gets 10 coins. I pull these right here. That's how many? 7. Got to get 3 more for him. 1, 2, 3. There's 10 coins. Man, I was hoping for a 72 bag. Ooh, look at this. Frankencoin. I have to toss this one. It is ugly. I think some of the ones toward the outside of the pile probably got a little bit of moisture treatment, and that's what makes these little spots like this, is when they get involved in a little bit of moisture. Not talking about dunked in water, I'm just talking about a little bit of moisture. That one went back behind me there. That one went well. Here, this one's a lot better. This one's nicer. Actually gave you decent, pretty 1969 Lincoln cents. I mean, heck, that's the least I can do. Oh, no, this one's got a spot on it, too. Well, we know where it's going to go. There that goes. Try another one. Okay, this one's spot free on the obverse. Still haven't found a single die variety, so we're just going to be looking for major errors pretty much. You guys see all this stuff coming off the tops of these letters headed toward the rims? They look like little die cracks. That's not what that is. That's actually die wear. That's what die wear does. The molecules of steel wearing off of the die make little trenches as they make their way toward the edge in the pancaking motion that works kind of like when you mash a pancake and it goes outward, or like for instance when rain is hitting your windshield, it kind of tends to go outward toward the edge of the windshield. That's what happens with the molecules of steel on the die as the die is making coins. And so you end up with all of these little trenches cut in the die. I really only see them over here. But see all those little tiny trenches cut in the die? And then some of them are bigger, and the reason those are bigger is because, well, the molecules tend to gather where a corner has been cut out. It's kind of like if you take a paintbrush and you go along a flat area that has a V groove, and you press that paintbrush down. By the time you get it into that V groove, your paintbrush is going to be V-shaped just because it squishes the bristles inward. Well, that's kind of what happens here. So it's a form of deterioration, and that's what it looks like, just to let you know. Next coin. I have a few spots, relatively minor spots on this one. No errors. It's okay, Jessica. I'm ignoring you guys. I'm good at that. Jessica's telling me my messaging is beeping all around me, and it's because I've already muted my phone. What we're hearing is my tablet. I forgot to shut it off before I started this. If you guys go over to a private chit chat between the two of you, I won't hear it. I see that little thing right there, that little dot. Let's zoom in on that little dot. That caused that black spot, whatever that is. We might be able to see it here. If I can get us focused in completely. Get the light a little bit brighter so we can see it. Now, that little thing, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's hard. This is a ruined coin, so we're going to ruin it further in our experimentation. I'm going to try to get this to a point where we can see that thing, and I can dig on it and see what it is. There it is. Come on, folks, it's always fun to do this. All right, now, do not ever attempt this on any coin you wish to keep, because this is going to ruin the coin. But we're going to dig this thing off of here. Nope, wrong angle, Chuck. You got to come in at this angle. Let's go look at it here. There we go. Okay, that's not going to work. I thought it would, but my instrument is not shaped so that it will work with that. Let me see if my trusty scalpel will work. I'll scratch that thing off of there and see what it is. See what's under it. Let me scratch it off. Nope, wrong spot. Oh well, I tried, but you can see what that little dot is, a really weird looking spot of gunk. And that caused that big black spot on the coin. That big black spot is actually dug into the surface of the coin, so there's nothing that's ever going to save the coin from that big black spot. So it is pocket change. Now I'll throw it out and it will go back to pocket change. Let's grab another coin and take a look at it. This one's pocket change too. That one is too. Oop, this one's a lot better. There we go. Let's zoom back out so we can actually see the detail on the coin without the molecular level getting in the way. And turn our light down some. Turn the light down low. Unless you're from the 70s, you wouldn't know that song. Not much of a surgeon. I just scratched the hell out of a coin with a scalpel. That doesn't mean I'm any good at it. Don't trust me to go getting into your heart or anything. Seriously. Not the type. Yep, silver nitrate, we ended up with a bag of 69s. Which I had no idea what it was. I told you I had no idea what it was. And we end up with a bag of 69s. Well, it's not that unpopular a thing. Because 69 is actually a rather tough date to get. But the unfortunate part about 1969 is that we are very unlikely to find any die varieties in this. There is one known decent looking double die obverse that's in the motto, "In God We Trust." There's also another one that shows a pretty nicely sized hump on the top of the first 9 of the date. There's nothing known on the reverse side of 1969 Philadelphia Lincoln cents. So we're at kind of a disadvantage as far as die varieties are concerned, but we do have ourselves a bag of coins that is a slightly higher valued bag than other issues in this era because, well, they're just more lowly minted and more difficult to find. Hey, Coin Junkie. Yep, Ant mentions that he's seen this kind of stuff in TrueView images, and that is true. You will see this kind of stuff in TrueView images because I'm actually pulling out coins that are like really ugly before we even stick them under the scope. I mean, why bother? I'm going to throw them out anyway. We're not finding any double dies in this, so I'm just going to keep plugging through. But Ant says that he sees this kind of die deterioration, like these little flanges coming off the tops of the letters in TrueView photos. TrueView photos are usually of higher grade coins, and you can get a very high grade coin that has those little trenches of die deterioration. It's not going to keep your coin from being valuable, as that sort of thing doesn't generally affect the grade of the coin. Sometimes it will. It just depends on how heavy it is. And the spots, that's okay. Sometimes the spots won't harm the grade too much, but I don't like spots. Don't like spots on my coins. I'll take anything but spots. Color is fine. Lack of strike is fine. Spots I don't like. Spot, your coin's got spots, you can keep it. I don't want it. Well, this one's just close enough. Yeah, I'm going to toss this one. Don't like it. Yeah, definitely. Definitely a tosser. Not a BU coin. Let's try another one. This is the replacement for that. Decent looking coin. We are going to be way over an hour if I try doing this for everyone. So what we're going to end up doing is broadcasting roughly an hour to an hour and a half. And then I'll stop the broadcast, and beyond this, I will just go through and I'll pick out nice coins for people, and I will look at them through the scope to see if there's anything on them worth discussing, because we've not been through these. There could be off-center strikes, there could be misaligned dies, there could be die clashes, there could be all sorts of things in these coins. I've not looked at them. I've got roughly $4 worth of them sitting out here in front of me that I've never seen. As far as I know, no people have ever seen them. The 2020 coins, if they have any spots, they're going to be the really light-looking milk spots. They're not going to be the dark spots like this. They're too new to have that kind of spots. I don't really know much of anything about $half. Sorry. I know a few of them, and I know a little bit about some of them. I think one of the 1936 $half FS 102 that you're talking about is probably where the underside of the shield that's over the breast area is doubled. Is that what that is? I think I kind of remember something about it. Not much, though. All right, Mikey. Yeah, I tell you what, at my own expense, if I can ruin something and show you guys what it looks like when it's ruined, we can sure go there. In fact, I might actually do that sometime, do some sort of a coin camp where I will actually use poor methods to clean coins and show you what they look like when they've been cleaned with poor methods. Of course, I'll do it with very cheap coins, but you'll see the method, you'll see how it works, and then I will tell you, disclaim toward the end of the video, never to do this on your own coins because you will end up with the same junk I have. Yeah, Dr. Chuck. The penny doctor. So that's very interesting that you should mention it that way, because day after tomorrow I'm going to be going to a show in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm going to be meeting up with a friend of mine who is a doctor. He is an actual medical doctor. The real thing. So calling me a doctor in any shape or form will get me in trouble. 5. Okay. I got 10 coins. I'm moving on to the next person. Dish soap. All right, here's Hawkeye. Hawkeye gets 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. One more is 10. There's Hawkeye's 10. Once in a while, we're going to hit a dud. Once in a while, we'll hit a really, really good roll. This one happened to be a bit of a dud. I got some pretty promising stuff coming up, though. Tomorrow, we're actually going to be doing another 1956 D roll, and one of these days, we're going to have to hit a really nice 1956 D roll. I love going through 1956 D, but what we've hit so far hasn't been the best. I'm looking for, of course, the major stuff, the good major stuff. But there was one important revelation that came from the last 1956 D roll we went through. If you remember, if you were there, found a couple of examples of 1956D OMM number 2. OMM number 2 was the one that was listed as a D over S to the east. And in going through this particular roll and pulling out these coins, they were in much earlier die state than I had seen this die before. And in looking very carefully at the coin, I was able to determine that it is not a D over S. It is indeed a D over D. Koneka had it right all along, calling it RPM number 12. And that's exactly what it is. It's an RPM. Their repunchment mark. So anyone who has anything marked as an OMM, that's a 1956D, that has an S out of the east of the D is probably not going to be a D over S. I do still believe that the one with the S between the 1 and the 9 of the date is still a mint mark punch, although there are others who do disagree with that as well. There are floating roofs known in 1969, but there's also floating roofs in a number of other series, and in a number of other issues, and I don't really think it's that much of an error. 69D is the one that's known to have the mint or the designer's initials polished off of the reverse, and at one time those might have sold for pretty good money, but now they don't. And the floating roofs, I just don't see them as being enough of an error to really count for much. They certainly don't have any value that's a premium, although some people would argue with that. Mostly the people who have them who want to sell them. George Kimball, welcome, sir. We are going through what we did not know a date and a mint on. It was a Fed Reserve Treasury seal bag, $5 bag of Lincoln cents. It had been reported to me that almost all of the ones known were 1971, 1972. But it turns out that the only part that I had right about this bag was the mint where they came from, the Philadelphia mint. The date was wrong. It turned out to be a 1969 bag. So we're looking through 1969 Lincoln cents now. Well, there's a number of things that a person could call a collectible oddity. That's for sure. And over time, I have been known to save things that didn't have any marketable value that I just liked. And I collected them because I like them, not because they have any value. And that is certainly okay to do. Collect whatever you want. When I talk about coins having premium value or no value or not collectible or whatever, I'm talking about market-wide. I'm talking about as a market at large in general. I'm not talking about one sale somebody might have seen one time 5 years ago on eBay between two people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about generally when these are offered out there on the wild market, they are worth X or they are worth nothing. That's what I tend to follow, is what the actual market shows. What are we talking about, Steve? We're talking about, you say dye polish. Dye polishing is going to show up as little marks. I don't see anything on the obverse here. Let me flip it over to the reverse and see if we have dye polishing on the reverse. I see just a little bit, but not much. Next time I run across some dye polishing, I'll definitely show you because I've seen some of it here. Hello, Mr. Hampton. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got 3 more. 3 more for Hawkeye. There's 1. Get this put around straight. And this coin's too brown for my liking. It's turned too much. It doesn't have any luster. It does on the reverse. The reverse is pretty nice. We'll skip this one anyway. We'll just toss this one and put another one in its place. Not missing anything. Except a coin that wasn't a good deal. So let's try another one. This one's nice and shiny. I like this one. That appears to be a suitable replacement. Nice shiny red coin. You guys might not see it as being completely red or very shiny, but that's because of the lighting on the scope. The lighting on this scope disallows me from showing coins up as nicely as they actually are. This is more for detail and looking at the details than looking at the luster and color. $1943D from a bankroll that has mild luster. Wow. As in a modern bankroll, like a roll that you just got? That would be kind of cool. A 43D, huh? Be sure you check the reverse for a double die on that. Really thick E pluribus unum and thick stems at the bottom. Also check the centrally located figures of 1 cent and check that for extra doubling. The other thing you might want to check for is a doubled eyelid on the obverse, and there are a few known examples of doubled dies that actually show on the 1/9 of the date and on Liberty. So, given that there is some sort of a chance that you could find something decent without necessarily having the big D over D. A lot of people, they take the 43Ds, they look straight at the mint mark, they see nothing there, and they move on. They don't realize how much there is to find on 1943D. Oh, you sent one of those Canadian dimes into NGC. That would be cool. That was a nice roll. Okay, we've got our 10 coins for Hawkeye. Oh, the floating roof. The floating roof is indeed dieware. Now I know what you're talking about. Yes, it's going to be dye over polishing mixed with dieware. And my ears are having a popping problem today. So I've been watching the news lately, and I've noticed that the news is mostly centered around politics and this virus that originated in China. I feel really, really, really sorry for the Chinese people because, I mean, a lot of people are not, let's say, super bright, and they tend to blame things that happen in particular countries on the race or on the nationality and not on just the nature of the fact that that's where it happened to come up. I mean, that virus could have made itself known in the mountains of Tennessee. I mean, we never know where stuff like that's coming from. Yep, fresh from the bag, Mr. Hampton. AGNO3. Some of you know what AGNO3 is. That's a scientific notation for a chemical compound known as silver nitrate. And silver nitrate is a member in good standing in our group here, one of our family members, who hails from Hawaii, where it is much, much earlier than it is here. Hello, Time Travelers Coin Exchange. I was just about to kind of ask that. I'm going to be visiting with a doctor this weekend. I'm going to ask him some very pointed questions about this new virus, this coronavirus that we are all now knowing about. The problem is that most of us just find out what the media wants us to believe. And so if the media wants to make it turn into something big and huge and monstrous, and this huge monstrosity of a virus, of an illness, and that we think the pandemic is going to cover the entire world and eventually kill the entire human race, well, just watch the news, because that's exactly what they want you to believe. What I want, this one's not good enough. It's going out. Bye-bye. We're going to use another coin because I don't like giving bad coins out. This one's better. Much better. Nice luster on this one. Nice luster, Lester. But I think if you want to be realistic, I might say, you really need to find out from the source of the people who actually are the ones investigating or in the middle of this whole thing. And find out from them, or find out from people who found out from them, what's actually going on, what's really going on out there. And I think we might find that there has been a lot of dramatic sensationalizing of the story. And that the actual story is that we've had 75,000, 100,000 cases with over 10,000 deaths this year of the flu, regular influenza, which we've been inoculated by choice, those who got the flu shot, that at least somewhat protects us against being infected with this virus. So this coronavirus is a different form of flu. So we have a different form of flu that I don't really see how it could be something that they're never going to find any kind of solution that will work to properly inoculate us and keep us from getting it. I'm thinking that this is going to be an extremely bad year for people who are exposed to it, but I don't think it's going to be like an earth-wide pandemic. I just don't. But I'm going to find out more information from an actual medical doctor who's probably been briefed a little bit better on this than most of the rest of us. Hello, Digging Canuck. Randy Kimbrough. Some machine doubling on the date and obverse, and then on United. So it's basically just a little bit of machine doubling. But yeah, but still, I mean, you got a coin for a penny. That was nice. I'll take 43 Ds for a penny any day. Even the ones that aren't as nice. This one's turned brown. It's not really very red. So we're going to skip this coin. It's been 7+ years since you've gotten a flu shot. I get my flu shot every year, and I do it because my wife she works in the medical field. She's around a bunch of people all the time who could possibly be infected by one thing or another, and she might be bringing that home with her on her clothes or whatever. And I kind of just prefer to have a little extra protection, and the flu shot doesn't hurt me, and it doesn't do anything to me. So given that the flu shot won't do anything to you, you can either believe it doesn't work and you've gotten a shot that'll do nothing, or you can believe it does work and sleep well at night knowing that you have been inoculated from a rather painful virus that sticks with you for a couple of weeks and makes you wish that you had gotten a shot when you do have it. That if a shot could have done anything to shorten it or make it feel less severe, you'd have taken it in a heartbeat. But hindsight's 20/20. I prefer to look ahead. I don't know if you guys really noticed that, but I did throw out a couple of coins there. I'm still going for silver nitrate to get him 10 nice looking 1969 Lincoln cents. See, I personally don't believe that you die from getting a flu shot. I just don't believe it. I guess there's some very, very small portion of the public that could be allergic to the inoculation itself. But the people who say that the flu shot can give you the flu, I don't believe that at all. Not one bit of it. Some people could be allergic to the egg in it. Some people could be allergic to the particular type of serum that's used in it. And I suppose that, people can be allergic to peanuts and strawberries, so you can be allergic to pretty much anything. And some people, I'm sure, are allergic to it. But the idea that you don't want to get a flu shot because some other people in the world have died from it, I could counter that by saying that probably 1,000 times the number of people have died from having the flu as from getting the shot. So if you're afraid of dying from something, be a lot more afraid of catching the flu. 39S RPM number 2 cent and MS63 red. I'm going to say probably $10 or less depending on how MS63 the coin is. And that's, like what made it the way it is to make it an MS63 red. A 63 red, a lot of the coins that we've been looking at here today are MS63 red. They're not the best condition. 39S RPM number 2 is actually kind of common. It's not scarce or rare by any measure. They're also not real easy to find, but they're not uncommon. Let's just say that if you were to take 100 1939S Lincoln cents completely at random, probably 20 of them are going to be the RPM number 2. It would be that many out of 100. Given that, 1939S Lincoln cents are not the most common coins to find. I agree with Jessica that it's a very rare occurrence to have a reaction to a flu shot. Very rare occurrence. For people not to get a flu shot because some people might have had a reaction to it is not a good idea. Like I said, with everything else, there is control. You can have it under a controlled environment. Anytime you get inoculations of any kind, you should be watched for a little while afterwards to make sure that you don't have an allergic reaction to it. I suggest that for anyone and everyone. Okay, who do we have next? Next out of the bag, Jeff Dunn. Jeff Dunn gets 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's take a look at Jeff Dunn's 5 coins. Am I as smart with other things in life or just coins and programming? I'm not sure how to answer that. I suppose I know some things about things. I don't know, what specifically are we asking about? My other talents. Talent? I can write. I can tell a story. Actually a pretty decent creative writer. I'm an artist. I do graphic arts and I do pencil art, painting, things like that. .43 on a 60, N65 on a 2.98 gram planchet. 2.98 gram. I'd have to look that up. I think that's one of the normal weights for them. I think they're 2.7 and 2.9 grams. Makes a difference on whether the coin was made prior to or after a particular date in May. They did change the composition slightly of the steel cent in May of 1943. A lot of people don't know that. They made them either just a little heavier or a little lighter. And neither have much of a premium value over the other because of that weight, because it was very close to the middle of the year when that happened. That's what die polishing does right there. Put scratches on the die. Then if you look in areas like right around the bow tie there, see how the front of the vest is almost kind of missing? That's what happened in the floating roof. You end up with die scratching that turns out to basically start to eat away at the details on the coin. The reason for that is because you're raising the field. You're raising the field by polishing it down on the die. Realize that everything you do on a die is going to be exactly opposite that on the coins that are struck by the die. So if you put a dent in the die, you're going to have a bump on a coin. If you put a bump on a die, you're going to have a dent in the coin. Exactly opposite. That's why when people who do the coin design, which I have had a little bit of experience in, when they do the coin design, they'll pour a negative, a die negative, and they actually cut the lettering into the die backwards. So that when they turn it back over to the positive, this one's going to be thrown out. They turn it back over to the positive, you have positive relief and positively flowing letters, just like what you're looking at right now. So if you take this, you flip it over backwards, and you take each bump and make a trench instead. That's how the letters are cut to make coins. They cut them into a reverse relief engraving, and then that is poured back over to positive to feel it and knock it down to size for a master hub. I probably should just bring the box upstairs and get them out and start, I guess, trying to hang some of them on walls around here somewhere, because maybe I could get my camera out and I could do like a live or something to show the drawings. Because I've got 8 or 9 different drawings now that I've done of the designers of U.S. coins. This one's not pretty enough. Bye-bye. Bye. This is a little better. Marginally so. There's some nice little rim cut things going on there. That's interesting. Rim cut is when the very, very edge of the die chips away. And the very edge, meaning the almost like on the side of the die, starts to chip away just a little bit from the pressure of minting coins. You end up with what we know of as rim cuts. There's Jeff Dunn's 5, finally. I can stick his name in here. Rim cuds are just little tiny raised humps along the rim of the coin that don't really affect the design at all. They're pretty common. There's plenty of them out there. In some years, they're much more common than in others. And in fact, in 1972, they're pretty common, but one of the most valuable 1972 double dies known has a specific marker of having rim cuds between the L of Liberty and the I of N. We're talking about DDO number 4. DDO number 4 is a very minor double die obverse, but it is also very rare. Midnight Silver Run gets 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 coins for him. And those of you who may be wondering, why is he handling those with his bare fingers? His bare fingers have been washed very well prior to the beginning of this show. And because they've been washed very well prior to the beginning of this show, they are extremely dry and they do not have anything on them that will impede the color of the coin. I've been handling coins for over 40 years. Give me a little credit there. What I'm doing to these coins is certainly not as bad as what's happened over the past 51 years. These coins have been sitting in a bag. Can you send me a pic of a negative on a cent, part of United States of America you found on a roll? If it's in negative relief and it is over the design of the existing coin, it is definitely damage on the coin. And it's damaged by having stacked the coin together with other pennies and squishing them in a vise or by using a hammer. It's very common. It's a sidewalk thing that kids like to do just to make their coins look pretty and nice and weird. And then they end up getting spent, and then people like you find them and think that you might have found something of value. You can send me the picture, but that's probably what I'm going to tell you via email. But I'm just letting you know now not to get too excited about it, because it's probably not going to pay for your next cup of coffee. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm probably going to cut off the broadcast on this after one more person's coins, and then I will finish off everything and make any special notes or amends that I need to and bring them up at the next roll reveal. I would like to get to a point with this one where we're not finding anything exciting. We're just kind of just blowing time. So I apologize on behalf of the United States Mint and the Treasury of the United States that we did not get a lot of really nice doubled dies and repunchment marks and other niceties in our bag, but this was one of the 10 million bags that should have been spent, and it was saved instead. They probably put 2.98 grams on the slab because there were two different weights in 1943 of Lincoln cents. And in fact, I will just cut off here. I'll go ahead and put Midnight Silver Runs in there, and then I'll draw the other names when I get to finishing this project here. I will finish this project up. I'll make sure that you get the nicest coins in the bag, because the remainder of what's left of the bag is going to get dumped into the copper bin because there's a lot of spots on the coins. And that's it for Midnight Silver Runs coins. We've got his 5 out of the way. Now, if you'll excuse me for just a moment, I'm going to see if I can find another book. I'll bring it over here. A true numismatist never needs to know all of the answers that you seek. A true numismatist only needs to know where the answers are. Authoritative reference on Lincoln Cents by John Wexler and Kevin Flynn within the covers of this book is a section where they discuss people who need glasses to read. Now, it's where they discuss the composition of the Lincoln cent through all of its changes. And as soon as I can find the page, we'll see. I think it's in the other tables. I'll start at 3:30. Work backward and see if I can find it. There is something in this book that tells you about the mintage. Here's 1969 cents to find. That's that fake double die. I have no idea where those came up or where they ended up, but the Treasury was yanking those. They got a little overzealous and started yanking some of the real 1969S double dies. That's in part what made them scarce. Okay, here we go. I'm going to have to do greens to grams. Does anybody know a conversion from greens to grams? Oh, Steve. Don Harmon. We haven't done all of the names yet, and I'm going to kind of cut it off short, and I'm going to do the names later. We've not found anything, no die varieties, no errors of note in this yet, so I'm going to go ahead and finish them up and let you guys know on the next broadcast what I found. Greens to grams. 1 grain is 0.06479989 grams. So we can go to a calculator and we can do 41.5 times that. Okay, we've got 2.68 or 2.69 grams for the first part of 1943. They're 41.5 grains, plus or minus 3 grains. And then from May up, they were 42.4 grains. .747 grams. So you're 2.8 what? 2.9 something like that. Okay, so you've got a 2.66. That's probably first half of the year. 2.62. Oh, that's a 54 tapered planchet. That's why that one's off. 2.98. Huh. Well, 2.98 is a little bit over, but I don't think it's enough to really make that much of a difference. Typical weight up until the middle of May. See, when was it? It doesn't say exactly a date. So it says up until May, they were 2.68 grams. From May forward, they were 2.74 grams. That was normal. And that's in this book right here. It's an authoritative reference on Lincoln Cents by John Wexler and Kevin Flynn. This is a 1996 edition. There's a lot of information in this book. There's a lot of omission in that book, which is why it's always good to have 10 or 15 different books. Okay, folks, well, I need to partake of some nutrition, and then I need to get this other bag finished. It looks like I've got probably close to 100 coins left to draw. So I'm going to draw the rest of the coins. I'm going to look through them in the microscope, and then I'm going to report back to you at 6 p.m. when I come back for the 2020 roll. That'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 4:24 right now. So when I come back at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll let you guys know what else I found in this 1969 bag from the Washington, D.C. Treasury Department, wrapped by the Fed. This bag right here, full of 1969 Lincoln Cents. And so it'll be 6 p.m. We'll be right back at 6 p.m. and you'll see 2020 Lincoln Cents. Talk to you after a while, folks.